Oh, we're lucky. We got a visitor here on our special, kicking off our second 1,000
episode bonanza.
Yeah, 1,001. So we're unveiling our new set, and we have a special guest.
Yeah.
Kyle Connor from Out of Spec Motor.
I'm being bombarded with the lights. This is like a full studio in here. It was way more impressive than what I do. This is very cool.
I don't know. It's in the bedroom, Kyle.
Yeah.
Are we admitting that it's in the bedroom?
Okay.
Let's pretend.
Okay,
Folks, pretend it's not in the bedroom.
Take it over my dresser.
Yeah.
So anyway, why don't you tell us a little bit about that version 2 track mode?
This is by far, as a car enthusiast who likes electric cars, the most transformative software update
really
ever. Before, when you want a car to handle a certain way, you'd have to buy, let's say, a front-engine rear-wheel drive car for skids, or a mid-engine car. A separate vehicle to then handle, very neutrally.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted it to feel like a 911, you'd have to buy a 911 with the engine in the back.
That's right.
Right? So you'd have to have really 4 or 5 cars in the garage to get different driving experiences.
Right.
And so now, through an over-the-air software update, which is just crazy, I can make my car handle like a delivery van, a 911, or a mid-engine supercar, all with a little slider, and then I have 20 levels of stability control, adjustable regenerative braking, overclocking the cooling system, and in the latest video, I know you guys haven't seen it yet, but you can go full sideways all day long at relatively manageable speeds now in a performance, which is so cool. I mean, I'm really it made me fall in love with my car for the first time.
You can steer by just kicking the back end out now.
Absolutely, and you can adjust that level on 5% increments.
Wow,
it's
that's sweet.
Wild.
So do you have a waiting list for rides now? Because I want to be on the waiting list to be slung around the track again. I'm waiting for my ride along.
Yeah, we can certainly arrange that. We had a lot of people email me saying they wanted to try out Track Mode V2 on the track. So we're going to have people coming up and just spending an hour or two, which we'll do an hour rental for someone.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely, makes sense.
That'll be cool. But yeah, it is by far the coolest thing. I mean, McLaren had really cool technology where there was a little dial in the car that allowed you to dial in how much drift you wanted the car to get. But you're still limited, of course, with it being rear-wheel drive, mid-engine.
Right.
And here, this transforms the entire handling.
Right, because it can put a front bias or back bias, and it's, of course, with electric, it's instantaneous. I mean, there's no mechanical delay or anything like that. You have to wind up the turbocharger or something like that. It's just instant.
Yeah, I'd say, technically, it is one of the coolest things I've ever put on a car. I wouldn't say it's more fun around a track than some internal combustion cars.
Oh, well, sure.
But it is so impressive what it can do.
Yeah, well, it gets back to the thing. I once had a discussion with a YouTuber, and I said, well, the Taycan's a wonderful car, but let's see, I can have 3 performance Model 3s for the price of one Taycan.
Or a performance Model 3, a track car, and a utility vehicle.
So I guess what I'm talking about, bang for the buck, which is what it always gets down to sooner or later.
That's right.
Some people have way more bucks and get more bang, but a lot of us just have this many bucks, and we want all the bang we can get. And a Model 3 performance is probably top notch, and it's going to be hard to beat that value.
If you just have to have one car and you're a car enthusiast but also enjoy electric vehicles, it's the only option right now.
I agree with that.
Yeah, if Model Y had track mode, which it doesn't, that would be the car.
Do you think 18 months from now Elon will be releasing track mode for the Model Y like he waited to release it for the Model 3? Is it just sitting there waiting?
Well, there's no reason why it can't have it. It's the same drivetrain as the 3, but their reasoning, branding, they're trying to sell 3s right now. So I wouldn't be surprised, but who knows what they'll do.
Yeah.
Right, and plus
we'll check back in on that one.
Right, and it'll come along, as right now I'm one of the lucky guys, it's like my wife says, you have to buy a performance one. But most guys aren't in that boat. Most guys, like the wife says, no, you can't buy a performance. So, after the period of time passes. So I was just saying that the Model Y in a year or so after all the, quote, family guys got the Model Y, maybe some of the performance guys will be especially if the track mode, that could reel them in a little bit. Say
Yeah,
that.
it comes back to the one car thing. A lot of
Right.
people only either have room for one car for storage or budget.
Yeah.
So if you need one car and the Model Y can do everything the 3 can do, at least 95% of it dynamically, and it has more cargo space, why would you buy a Model 3?
Yeah.
I don't think either of them look particularly nice.
Right.
So I think the Y would be my choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the Mach-E, I thought, I don't know, I'm listening to so many different YouTubes and podcasts about the Mach-E, but one of the Ford people said, you know, they knew that their audience, their customers were younger guys, get married, and the wife's okay with the Mustang for now, but then the first kid comes along, and the first car that's got to go is the Mustang, right? And so now with the Mach-E, they're saying, hey, it's 4-door. So now they're thinking these guys are going to be able to guide the wife back to the Mustang,
Yeah.
and because
It
it's a
makes
4-door.
sense,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
you know, you change over life. You know, not the same every day in day out.
That's
You know, and you know, having a daily driver. I mean, because that's what's beautiful about an electric car. I mean, could you imagine making a Hellcat or a GT500 your daily driver? What wear and tear?
I can't imagine, but I don't think it would be nice.
Only if you like throwing away money.
Right, yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, like, I even had this little BMW that I rolled up in today.
Yeah.
Well, it's a 4-cylinder turbo, but I've been ripping on it.
Sure.
And I used a half a tank between last night and today. Like, I'm like,
Well, at $1.90 a gallon.
That's right.
What? Who cares?
That's right, gas is so cheap. I think I saw 171
I
yesterday.
saw a pink Hummer yesterday, H3, the big booger, painted pink. It was
That's
like
funny.
they brought it out because gas is $1.90. You couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, the economics of an electric car really,
Yeah, right now
it's, not the thing. It's a way better driving experience.
Oh, right,
You just have to
absolutely.
sell it on the car
Car-
being better,
yeah, now-
not so much on saving money.
Yeah, and I'll be real honest. Obviously, I do expect gas prices to get up off of this $1.90 a gallon stuff, but
Someday.
someday. But really, I would, you know, the over under on $3. I would probably
I would
take
agree.
the.
I would
I'd
agree.
take the under
Yep.
on $3. So that's what I'm thinking for the foreseeable future. I just don't
Yeah.
see.
And there's still there's not an electric application for everything.
That's
When
right.
you and I were
Oh,
in
yeah.
Texas and we saw these trucks in the middle of nowhere with
Yeah.
huge loads.
Yeah,
Current technology, even if you have a 500-mile range pickup truck, it's going to be 180 miles with
Oh,
a trailer
right.
on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Some of these trailers are
well,
massive.
yeah, and again, without the economic incentive, you know, if gas
Yeah.
was or diesel was $4 a gallon, it would.
Right. That
I
makes
think
a lot
I
of
don't
sense.
mind stopping every half an hour or an hour to fill up or
Right.
whatever it would be. I don't know, but you know, you change some of that. You know, $200 fill up for $30 fill up. You know.
Yeah, makes
So-
sense.
We'll see. Anyway, so that's one thing. And speaking of stuff going on, I've kind of gotten a little hypothesis, and it keeps getting reinforced. And I haven't shared this yet, but you know, BMW just announced that the iX3 is not coming to America, the
That's
U.S. And they had a lot of good reasons why. The dealer says it doesn't do 300 miles. They don't have enough battery. Whatever, I don't know. They have their reasons, but you know, I'm a kind of a conspiracy guy a little bit myself, and I'm thinking, I believe that the legacy car companies, specifically the European ones, they've just conceded the U.S. electric car market to Tesla. Just say, you know, you can have it. We're gonna build them in Europe. We're going to try to establish our beachhead in Europe. You know, you've got North America. We're not going to come over here and be able to compete anytime soon, but we've got some advantages and needs in Europe that makes us more cost competitive. So the war is going to get fought in China.
Well, that's for sure.
That's
Yeah.
where the war,
Yeah.
in other words,
Well, they're the largest car market right now.
That's right.
where everything's going to happen.
and I think that has a little bit to do with the announcement Tesla made at, Elon talked about at the first quarter of the fourth quarter earnings call back a couple months ago. He said he'd rather get 4 or 5 Model 3s or Model Ys
right.
on the road versus one semi. He
That's right.
wanted numbers. He wanted the number of vehicles to increase. That's what he was trying to do. Well, that plays in And of course, the reason he made that statement is because he can't get enough batteries to
That's
build
right.
semis and to get the number. So he had to choose. I will rather have the cars than the semi at this point in time. Same thing with this lithium iron phosphate battery in China. Look, BYD's been building buses out the wazoo using
right.
lithium ion, using these batteries.
Yep.
There's an oversupply for lithium iron phosphate batteries. You know, Tesla said, well, look, we could scale our production with the Maxwell Drive process and all that, but that's still 6 months, a year away. We've got Chinese companies that build good,
that are ready to go.
ready to go. I mean, they can start wheeling tractor trailers full
That's
of
right.
batteries right here. So all we got to do is design them. And Elon even said on the Third Road podcast, you know, this whole thing about modules is a total waste of time. You
I
have
agree with
cells and you have packs. This module thing sounds good in theory, but when you actually go down to first principles, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's just taking up space.
So now, you know, they can easily design a battery pack around lithium ion phosphate batteries.
That's right.
And slap it in Model 3s. And if it is 20% cheaper, I'm sure it is, it's probably more than that. And plus they can get all of them they want. That's the key thing. They
It's
can get
battery
all
supply.
they want.
Well, that's what everyone's claiming, right? So
Right.
you've seen Kia, Hyundai, Kia say, "Well, sorry, we're not bringing the Soul EV
That's
over.
right.
We can't get enough batteries."
Yeah.
The Kona, they're like, well,
No.
"There's a huge waiting list
That's right.
because you can't get enough batteries." So Tesla's had the supply of batteries for a long time with this whole Panasonic thing. Now, who knows how that's going to play out?
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that the thing about China is that this means that they're going to be able to sell all the Model 3s and probably Model Ys using these lithium iron phosphate batteries out the wazoo, while everybody else is still trying to break into that Chinese market.
That's right.
And it's going to be just like North America, but it's going to be China this time.
Yep.
You know, Tesla blazed the trail here, and they got that first mover's advantage.
That's right.
They effectively are going to have, even though I know there's millions of electric cars already in China, but this
they
is
have 33%, I believe.
that's
a
right.
third
The
of
market share this is going to drive it up because the cost is going to go down. They're going to get the cost down.
Well, look, I think first off, my personal stance is I really don't care what electric car someone buys, as long as it's you know. I honestly don't care what anyone buys. I just want to
Team
see.
EV is what Mary and I refer to
Right,
ourselves.
Team EV. Yeah, and honestly, if someone wants to go buy a truck, whatever, you're not going to make too big of a difference. But I am a big fan of electric cars. I think, as you say, Tesla has for sure the market on the U.S.
Yeah.
No, but it's got to be 80% plus.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be.
Right.
And you know, I have used to work for German automakers. I know how they think. You're probably right. There's just no. If they bring the iX3 here, it'll be an I-Pace situation.
It'll be an ice. Exactly right. It'll just be.
It's just
yet
not
another
that
iPace.
great. Everyone will forget about it after 2 months, and then they'll be sitting on lots.
Right. The thing that they're probably worrying about, that I'm sure they're acknowledging it, is that, you know, when the Tesla Giga Berlin opens up and they start building cars in Germany, now that European home court advantage is they're going to have a real competitor because, the premium feel of the Audi or the super nice sports car of the Porsche, or all those are all good things, but Tesla still builds a really good car, and it's going to be very popular in Europe, especially when it's built in the EU. It has that home stamp on it.
Well, I think it's something like 1 in 3 Germans work in the auto industry.
That's right.
Like a huge percentage, and they're all. I mean, they're cutting shifts, losing jobs. It's unfortunate, but like, the whole economy is on the brink of collapsing.
Right.
Specifically in Germany, but the EU in general. Tesla going there, I think, is a huge move.
Yep.
But one of the reasons I think we haven't seen legacy manufacturers build a good electric car or something comparable is their design cycles are traditionally 7 to 9 years.
Yeah.
Right? So you have an idea, you got to pitch it to the board.
Yeah.
They say this, that. You go to 9,000 meetings that go to accomplish nothing.
IBM, 9,000 meetings. I totally understand how long it takes to bring an idea to the market.
Absolutely,
But at Tesla, they can probably go from idea to design to prototype to release candidate in 1.5 years or 2 years. It's crazy fast.
Well, it's just like the coronavirus in China. You know, they said, we're going to do this. And That's
well,
what
they
happens.
can. Well, that's what happens when you have a single.
That's what happens when you got somebody like Elon.
Right.
We're doing this.
Right.
No more arguments. No more discussion.
That's
And either it's my
Car
way
makers
or the
don't work
highway
like that.
type thing.
Yeah.
There's the door. If
Right.
you ain't going to do it, I'll bring in all the guys or all the people who want to buy into my vision of what sustainable transportation is going to look like.
Right, and so that whole ethos of how companies run from the top down is going to affect everyone else, and it's why I think Lucid will be successful, why Tesla will be successful, Rivian, but I think we'll see those become the new Audi, BMW, Mercedes.
I think, as I said, I think I think that it's going to be the trend, because think about it, when the Model Y. As you said, we would all like to think that 50% of all new car sales are going to be EV by 2025 or 2030. You pick
whatever the number.
Whatever the number. But again, in the U.S., with that low of fuel price,
It's just not.
it's just, there's like no, I mean, even I am Mr. Value-minded person.
Mhm.
I would be really hard pressed to tell somebody to pay $20 premium for
Sure.
an electric car right now, especially if you don't have the disposable income.
Right, you can go lease like a Honda Civic or a Kia, whatever,
yeah.
for like $129 a month,
Yeah,
right? And then you pay maybe $40 a month in fuel.
yeah,
You're not saving any money getting
Yeah.
an electric car at that point.
yeah. It's just unfortunate, but
Right, we'll get there at some point.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Right. So what I was, Europe, because of the regulations and the fuel prices are higher in Europe. There's a little bit. They have a little bit more of a value proposition.
Well, also the people are more sustainably minded as a
And
whole.
as a general
generally.
speaking, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So I guess what I'm saying is, I believe now at this point they're using the battery, which is a valid excuse, but it's really not. It just happens to fit into their real strategies. To look, those those Americans, they're not gonna. It's not going to be 50% electric cars anytime soon. We can drag our feet. Just let Tesla have
Right,
that.
and everyone's been asleep at the wheel this whole time.
Right.
I think Volkswagen Audi Group kind of woke up from their sleep and is in a doze since 2015.
Yeah.
And now they're starting to ramp it up. I think this
Right.
new ID concept,
that's
ID4, I think they're going to be good. What's Daimler doing? Absolutely nothing. BMW has done nothing. They
Yeah.
built a really cool product in
Yeah.
2013, which was the i3.
Yeah,
And then they launched a brand new mini electric in 2020, which is a 2013 i3.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Not
what these guys
innovating
are
there.
doing. No, nothing.
Yeah,
At least Volkswagen building a Taycan, which is cool, Halo car.
Yeah,
e-tron, which is practical.
Oh,
Sure,
absolutely.
it's not great from efficiency,
Right.
but at least they're doing something.
yeah. Then they have the fundamental problem. I always say that when you walk into a car dealer and you say, "Show me the best car you make," and if they don't walk over
To the electric.
car and they show you some, even though
Yeah.
it's been perfected over the last 15 generations,
And they will.
but as long as that's the modus operandi, it isn't. They're not gonna win in the electrics until they say, "We're gonna build an electric car. It's going to be the best car
And
ever
the dealers
built."
will be incentivized to sell.
That's
because
right.
dealers only work off money. As you say, they're coin operated. There you
Yeah,
go.
no, they're coin operated. Yeah.
They're coin operated,
Yeah.
right? So if you are a dealer salesperson,
Sure.
right? You can have someone, an Audi, for example. Hey, hi, your Q5 is off lease.
Yeah.
Would you like a new Q5? Great. Do you want a black one? Cool. Here's one. Have a great day. See ya.
That's right.
It's, oh, you have a Q5. How about the same car? It's an e-tron, but you got to plug it in, and then if you go on a trip, you use this app, and here's all the chargers, and then you got to set up this account. It's just that they need to take the time to show the ease of use, not so much the here's all the problems you're going to have.
That's right. And they basically lead with, "Here's all the problems you
Yeah,
have."
and so why don't you just want another Q5?
Tell Kyle what you always say to Consumer Reports people, what they need.
Right. I always, I really kind of sensitive about Consumer Reports review. One of the reviewers of the e-tron had made a very legitimate statement, and I totally agree with this statement. The person said, "This is the most conventional car.
Yeah.
I cannot tell this car from the Q5 or whatever she was."
Right.
Because she said this is exactly the same.
That's the design goal of the car.
That was the design goal. So you've built exactly the car and it just happens to be electric.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that, in my opinion, is kind of that isn't what I would be.
No, it's not for us.
Yeah, it's
right,
not.
'cause we would want all the cool geeky
Right.
stuff. But
Right.
if it's like my mom,
Yeah.
who has a Q5 and just wants another Q5 that
Right.
plugs in at home. That's cool.
Right. But, and I agree with that, and I can accept that part, but it's the second part of the conversation is, well, there's no place to charge it, and the first thing you find out, they don't charge them at home.
That's right.
So-
they do not
and-
charge them at home.
I would say, no, look, I tell people even today, Tesla fanboy that I am, look, if you can't charge at home, maybe the electric car isn't the right car, especially if it's your only
Yeah,
car.
if you can't charge at home or work,
Yeah, you've pretty much got to know I'm going to be able to charge.
you got to have a lot of disposable time to go
Yeah.
hunting for stations.
Even I mean,
Or
so
you
the
drive so few miles, you just make one trip to the supercharger on the weekend.
Yeah,
I
but
can
even
see-
then, in the wintertime, you're showing up to the supercharger with
Yeah.
a cold battery. It's going to take
Yeah.
3 hours.
yeah,
It's
I'm
not-
not a big fan of going anywhere specifically to charge. Just one thing,
right.
if you can, because we've been to places where they've had free level 2 charging,
Mhm.
and we don't even bother to plug in.
Right. It's just so
just-
cheap here.
Yeah, just because we can charge at home. If we're having to then restrict ourselves to only places that have fast DC charging that that we're going to
Yeah,
shop or
that's-
eat or do that just gets complicated, and it works a few times, but every fifth time it probably won't
It'll
work.
probably take 10 years for that to fit in with someone's normal schedule.
Right.
And even then, you're not going to have DC chargers in every parking lot.
Right.
The amount of power needed, the construction costs, it's not going to be worth
So
it.
I feel Consumer Reports is too biased, that they are not conceding the number one advantage to owning an electric car is to be able to charge at home.
I agree.
even agree that limited charging at work is pretty good, but really, if you could charge at home where literally you spend that 15 seconds to plug in and 15 seconds, and every
that.
day
It's not even that
you
long.
leave with 230 or 240 miles or whatever the number is, so you never even think about charging.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the beauty, because we had to drive the gasoline cars, and twice last week we had to stop on our way somewhere
Yeah, I was
to
just
get
thinking
gas.
about that. Yeah, because I have range anxiety now.
Right.
Like when it gets empty, I gotta find a station. I gotta sit there, and then I thought, every 300 miles, someone gets out of their car and stands there like this for 5 minutes. That sounds awful.
Yeah. Well, Marianne, she's been looking at our last 1,000 days of videos, and she pulled up a clip where I was kind of teasing with her. I said, she's a smart girl. She's going to recognize what the problem here is. She had forgot to plug in one night. But in
And he
3
wouldn't tell me
years,
before I left,
in 3 years,
like 3 times.
yeah, 2 or 3 times in 3 years, she's forgotten to plug it. But I need to point out, none of those times did she have to go or required to go. She had enough range every one of those times to have done what she was needed to do. She could have came home and charged. Now, I think in 2 of the 3 times she chose to go to the supercharger after dropping Johnny off because it was right there anyway. But that was not
And
required.
save you a few pennies of not charging during shoulder time at home.
Yeah, we could. That's right.
It was cheaper to go to the free supercharger than
It's
to
always
charge
cheaper to
during
free
shoulder
supercharger.
or peak electric
yeah,
at
with
home.
the unlimited
Yeah.
supercharger.
But I had enough to get back, which was the point you were
Right.
making.
Yeah, it wasn't, oh no, I cannot drive my electric car because of this. I can't do my errand because I need to wait 5 hours to charge. But yet, Consumer Reports, oh, I can't go to the Saturday morning
Yeah.
soccer match because the car's not charged. The only place I can charge is at work, and I don't work on Saturdays.
Right. Well, here's the solution. What press car should do. So Tesla doesn't give out press cars in the traditional sense.
Right.
But Volkswagen Audi Group does. So they say, okay, you're going to have an e-tron on loan for a week.
Sure.
Let us take the cost and install a charger
Oh
in your
God,
house.
yes, please.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's what they should do.
That's right.
And then, I know a lot of automotive journalists that have chargers at home.
Right.
Some don't, and some don't care to.
Right.
But it does fall on them, and really, automotive journalists play a huge role in a buying
Alright.
decision. Everyone will watch a review of a car, and so it'll just take one negative thing about charging being a problem
Right.
for someone to get off of that.
Yeah, but there have been surveys now, and they've not been done by Tesla. They've been done by other groups.
Mhm.
And they go back and they survey, and there was not a single Tesla person in it. I think it was mostly Nissan Leafs and Kia Souls and all these other electric cars, the E5, 500E,
yeah.
500E. All those, they surveyed them. And the biggest myth or the biggest worry they had before buying, almost the vast majority listed, where am I going to charge? But
Right.
after owning the car,
Yeah.
the one worry they didn't have was where I was going to charge the car. So
That's
their
right.
biggest worry turned out to be totally unfounded.
That's right. I mean, even Alyssa, who has the i3, she
Right.
does about 100 to 150 miles a day in that car. She drives a lot. It only has 70 miles of range.
Yeah.
However, she goes in the morning, she comes home, she charges
Okay.
it at home, she goes back out, and then charges it at night.
That's right.
And she has the little gas motor that can kick on,
Yeah.
but it never kicks on.
Yeah. In
it's
fact,
just there as a
you've gone
backup.
out of your way to make sure you
Yeah.
run the gas motor
That's
because
right.
of the warranty, and you want to make sure you get everything covered
And it's
by
in for
warranty.
service right now, getting an oil change
Okay.
for $240, by the way.
Oh,
For an oil change, because the BMW i cars are special. It's because they never come in for service. They got to
Oh,
make
God.
money off of them
Yeah,
somehow.
Wow.
Well, that's what they say. The service is the profit center.
That's right. It is. That's
Yeah.
how dealers are surviving right now.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming and talking about all this, Kyle. It's great
Yeah, this
for
is
breaking
great.
in the new studio
I
here.
absolutely love the studio.
Yeah.
The lighting's great.
Yeah.
I need some of your lighting.
Yeah. Well,
And this is beautiful back here too.
Yeah.
Good work on it. I know it took you a while.
yeah, like everything, I underestimated. And if I was to do it again, I'd do it
Right.
different. I've done one now, so now I know where I made all
Right.
the mistakes. So I mean, the second one, all
Right.
these things.
So
but
if
I'll
you
never
need
do
one, we know
Yeah, if you
he
need
could do
one.
this next
Right.
one
I do
even
need
better.
one, but I'm not going to take up 2 weeks of his time to
Yeah.
build it.
Well, yeah, it probably took me 30 hours, I guess, to wire it all
It
up.
was
But
90 minutes to put it together, and
Yeah,
then
that
the
wasn't
wiring
bad.
was really where all of the...
Yeah, well, it's just a couple trips because I forgot this, and I did have to order and caduce to my wife. She said I ordered 2 strings of LED lights, and that got like
Yeah.
this far, right? And she says, I said, well, I think I just need 2 more strings of
Right.
LED. She says, no, you better order 3 because And sure enough,
Yeah.
I used like 4 lights off that 3rd string.
Right there you
So
go.
I have 2 and a 3rd strings on there.
I like a
The
security
3rd
net.
string
Yeah.
is just 2/3 of it is sitting over there in the corner, but maybe I'll.
But
use
it looks
for
great.
something.
It's all very evenly spaced. It's
I'm
really
very
cool.
happy with
Yeah.
it. I think he did an awesome job. I had this vision of I'd ask for lights and he would just throw some up there, but he went the extra mile to make it like really great. So
Yeah.
Now you have your own
because
studio.
there's a
How cool
remote
is that?
control and everything.
Yeah.
You can change the lights
Color
and
and all that
yep,
stuff.
all
Oh.
that stuff.
And we're
Yeah.
gonna. I've got a solution for the flicker. I'll order the things that I need to do that.
Cool. Well, thanks again for having me, guys.
Yeah.
This
Thanks
was
for
fun.
coming,
Congratulations on 1,000 episodes.
Thank you.
That is insane, first
Yeah.
of all. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And,
scared to say there'll be 1,000 more, but you know me. Once I start down a
Yeah.
path, I probably
Yeah.
keep going. So
That's right.
That's right. I mean, I've probably seen at least 85% of those 1,000 videos. So that's pretty
we
cool.
really
Yeah.
appreciate the
Yeah.
support. Yeah,
That's pretty amazing.
Awesome.
Very
It's
cool.
a lot of dedication.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate you coming.
All right. I'll see you guys.
Yeah.